You are live.
Having you, this is the Black Country Blokes tune of fat. With me, Kev Dillon, Craig
Haha.
Pinches, Lee Cadman, and Aaron Jude. Now, just before I get started into our first row report for Thursday, I'd just like to give my deepest condolences to one of our boxing brothers, Paul Smith from Merridale, who unfortunately lost his battle with cancer. He was a remarkable man. He shared my views in so many things with the mental well-being of his boxers. So sending all my love from the Lions Boxing Club and the Midlands to Merridale. Now today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about tears, tears for fears, or are all these tears giving you tears? With all the regulations constantly changing about, are we in a lockdown? Are we in level 3 or 2? As people know, people in most of the West Midlands and the Black Country in Birmingham are now in tier 3. With them saying all gyms can open, but that's like the weightlifting gyms. That doesn't include like boxing gyms like ourselves where we can run classes. And Craig said something off the air just. He's saying human beings are great at adapting. But the problem is with the situation at the moment, every day we're having to learn to adapt to something else. There's no certainty. Have we got work? We've got childcare. Have my kids going to school? And I think it's a constant insecurity that's sending us mad. I mean, I personally, I've had a real tough week this week. Bit of depression. Not, I've had my first washing Sunday today. Just finding that motivation to get yourself up and ready to face the world. And I know where that leads to. One day turns to the next. I'm lucky that I've pulled myself out with loving care from friends and family. But I know how that can lead. When you're down that rabbit hole, not often say it's like the dark room. It's all right if you just nip in, nip out. But longer you're in there, that room turns into a maze. And longer you're in there, it's harder to find your way out. So, how have you always been, Craig?
Oh, you put me on the spot, mate.
Was there anyone
Yeah,
else want to say?
no, I'm cool. I've been pretty much the same, and I think what gets to me as well, which I know is going to be an obvious subject because of like it's just a once in a generational thing that this kind of thing's going to happen. But it's conversation, you go to the school, all you're hearing about is COVID and the regulations and the tiers and the this and the other. You go to your parents' house and that's all you're hearing, or you're in Aldi and that's all you're hearing, or you're in Asda. And I think with myself, like I like to say something and move on. I feel like everything keeps repeating itself. And I know that it's going to because it's a big thing in our life at the minute. But I think that starts to get you down a little bit as well. When you try and have a conversation with someone and then you're hearing about tier 3 and you're hearing about this, that, and the other. And then you think, oh, that conversation's done. You move on to the next person and you regurgitate that same exact conversation. And it feels like all day frustration builds, which never ever helps. When you're frustrated and something monotonous is keep being spoken at you or to you or amongst yourselves, I feel like that brings you down as well. It does me anyway, and that maybe that contributes to the way I've been feeling lately as well.
I feel like it's when you're at a boxing show and you've got yourself ready, you've had weeks of preparation for a fight, you turn up, you jump on the scales, you wait around, and you go, he's on his way, and just before you're getting warmed up, you're getting ready for the thing, then someone goes, "Oh no, he's gone home." So you've got all that adrenaline that's pumping through your veins, and then what do I do with it? And I feel like that's how this year's kind of been. We're coming out of lockdown. Oh, no, we're out of lockdown, but you've got to do this. All right, then we adapt, and then it changes. So it's that adrenaline and knowing what to do with it. And I think that's where the anxiety, the uncertainty keeps bubbling up. I know in myself. How about you, Aaron? What do you think?
Yeah, I think just to touch on a few things actually, Kev. Before we went live, you were explaining how you were feeling, and like not having a goal or a purpose and stuff. And I think that's definitely one of the things that a lot of people are struggling with. I struggle myself if I don't have a goal. So I'd say this lockdown has definitely been a lot worse for me than the first lockdown. I think I was happy the first lockdown. I was like, this is brilliant. Just stay at home, and I was exercising. I was getting everything done. I struggled in this one until probably the last few days, but obviously I've just been really busy because we've got a goal. We're trying to get something out the door, and it keeps me at least motivated and going forward. But it has been tough. I think you guys have hit the nail on the head there. It's not being able to know what we're supposed to adapt to. because as human beings, yeah, we can adapt pretty quickly. If you just tell us what to do, we'll cry about it for a few days, and then we kind of just, we grin and bear it until we have to. But I think it is that uncertainty of, well, this tier 3 thing, that what does it actually mean? I don't even think people know what it means, to be honest. It's so like, I don't think the government know what they're doing. I think for me, I've just taken the positive that at least I can get out to the gym, and that will at least some way enhance me from where I am. So I'm trying to take the gratitude perspective of it is, okay, it's been really shit for 4 weeks, really been like mentally and physically for myself, but at least now I have something to look forward to next Wednesday, and then hopefully I can start playing football where I can see friends and stuff. But yeah, I sympathise even with yourself now. You've obviously mentioned this is a tough week, and it's been the better of my, out of the 4 weeks, it's been the best week I've had, but I've not been present. I've not been present for you. I know we haven't caught up on the phone conversations and stuff. I've not really caught up with anyone because I've just been in that whirlwind, and then you feel that sense of guilt now, like listening back to what you guys are going through. Apologies for not being there, and I just think it's hitting people at different times. Do you know what I mean? Like a week ago, I didn't want to talk to no one, and it's just, hopefully you're feeling a bit better now.
I think, like,
sorry, Craig.
Yeah, I was just going to say, to touch up on that, like, you feel a bit bad for, after hearing what people have gone through, but if it eases your mind at all, I wouldn't have spoke to you. I still wouldn't. If I feel like it tonight, I wouldn't want to speak to you. But I understand where you're coming from, because I know you've been quiet, like, not just on the group or whatever. But I know you're busy as well. But you go through things, and not once have I turned around to you and said, "Am you good, Aaron?" And that's because I've not been feeling myself at all either. And I think what we do is we become reclusive. The government's telling you to stay in and keep yourself to yourself, and that's what we want to do, but we don't want to do it in the way they want us to do it. So we want to be out there amongst the people, but within ourselves. If that does that make any sense?
No,
I think
absolutely.
we're just like, we're just living. We're living on contradictory terms, whether it's in real life or mentally or emotionally.
But it's like what's going to happen at Christmas. We're all in tier 3 now. We're on the 23rd, then we can go and have street parties, right? They're saying, oh, well, you can only have, I don't know, 15, how many people there? And I think, well, I personally, we've decided we're not going to do that this year. It's just one day. But my birthday, Kevmas coming up, my brother's birthday, New Year's Day, Christmas. So it's a big family time for us, but we're going to be safe. We're going to be safe. I feel like if this lockdown hadn't happened, we could have done what we're doing anyway, being sensible, seeing people. But once again, it's just that constant high alert. And that's why I wanted to talk about this today. Not to feel, oh, so poor Kev and all this bollocks. It's to show that us blokes can talk about it like we're doing now. And I think that's this is why we started, just to have frank, honest conversations. So hopefully you lot too. Lee, anything you want to chime in with?
Yeah, it's a confusing time, and it's like I've looked at all these tiers today and what it actually means, but nowhere in it does it say how you move from one tier to the other. So there's no goal, there's no, and you look at the way they've done the tiers, and you can't work that out either. The infection rate is the same in some places, but they're in a lower tier. So how to work it out? How do we move down? I don't know. It's very confusing.
Like when they say the gyms are open, we can't do like rerun the boxing. Surely it'd be safer to have a coach there, and as soon as Lee's punched the bag, then I wipe it down, and Aaron punches it. To have one coach looking after a class, or several coaches, whatever the thing, like a boxing gym. Whereas if it's just, you can go and lift up the weights, how do I know it's been cleaned properly, and I'll go and pick it up? Then you're going on individual's courtesy instead of a gaffer looking after the gym.
I think the problem is, and I did this to start with, with the first lockdown. I was very involved. I was very pissed off about panic buyers, and I was very like, what's the point in this? What's the sense of that? That ain't right. And I think what I've learned to do now is bite my tongue for the most part, and even try and erase it from my mind to find any kind of logic with what's going on now. Because I'm over analytical. Once I get a grasp on something, I think I need to find logic within that. I'll try, and then I'll get pissed off that whatever they're doing is no logic, whether it's people or governments or even myself. And I'm having to have to learn to say, you know what, whatever them doing, let them carry on. I'm going to live how I'm going to live. I'm going to be courteous. I'm going to be mindful, but I'm going to pay no mind to any of that. Because when I read tier systems and when I read regulations, your kids can go to school and chew on the same pencil end and then come back home to the family, but then they all go to that family's house to play with them. You know, when you try and find logic in something like this, people like myself anyway, you're just going to blow your own mind just trying to think. You have a lot of sleepless nights trying to get a grasp on it. So you got to try and just let it be.
I feel that's what's sending us into depression, anxiety, and just generally around the bend. Because normally you go to work, you go to the gym, you go to the pub, you go on public transport to get to. But at the moment, we're just in our own heads, and I think that's the worst place. You know, I'd rather have a fight with Mike Tyson than have a fight with my own mind. My own mind knows what I'm frightened about. It knows what I worry about. It knows what I'm anxious about, and you can't escape that fight. And that's one of the worst fights to be in when you're in a dark place.
I think I'm going to go back to Aaron based on what Aaron said as well, because I have a question for you. Really, is you're busy. You've got something that you're ready to get out the gate. You can mention in a minute anyway. Let the audience know what it is. But my question to you is how have you managed? You say that motivates you and that keeps you going. Now, to me, I don't know if it's a character trait, but that would overwhelm me, and I'd think I can't focus on that right now. So, how do you keep motivated with that as opposed to letting it be another thing that you want to like shut off a little bit?
I think it might be a personality trait of mine. I'm just very much I'm an all or nothing character. I'd always like to see progression. So whether that's in the gym, whether that's in my work, whether that's in my self development in terms of how many books and stuff I read, I always want to try and be better. So for me, actually switching off and sitting here with my thoughts, it's the last thing I want to do. Not just because I don't want to be in my own head, but like if I have to play PlayStation, 10 minutes in, I'm instantly feeling guilty that I could actually be moving myself forward. But one of my key things, at least for my own values, is to create some form of legacy. And that is, at least in my mind, is the way I can create that and make it the best possible legacy. It would always be by leaving it all on the field. So that's why I need these goals to keep me motivated, because otherwise I don't want to get to the end of my life and think, you know what, you wasted 50% of your potential here and there. So touching on what you were saying in terms of what we're creating, there was 2 days this week I felt like absolute crap. Like it was the worst 2 days I probably had in the 4 weeks, and I was like emotional. I was struggling a bit with grief and stuff, and then I kind of come over that because I was like, hold on a minute, you're about to create something that is effectively going to enhance people's well-being. Like there's science behind it. You take it, you're going to get better, basically. And that for me is something that if that continues on, I can then sleep at night knowing we put something into every household in the world that's helping people. So again, it's just negotiating with my mind. I need to think of how can I negotiate this morning to make myself get out of bed to then go to sleep at night comfortable, knowing I left it all on the field. I still get overwhelmed. I still get anxiety. There's still some days where I feel like I'm not moving. I'm not productive. I'm not doing anything. But I have to just keep looking at my intrinsic goals, and then obviously then it just comes down to discipline. I believe I'm quite a disciplined person. I work a lot on structure and habit. For the last, I'd say since I was 25, I really started to turn my life around. So 9 years, there's certain routines in my life I have to have, and when I have them, I just naturally feel better. And that's why, like with the gym next week, it's just something to keep me excited. So I'm like, do you know what I mean? It keeps me going, but it's just my personality type, I suppose.
I think that's like it's disciplined, and like that's the key point there as well, isn't it? You got to be disciplined within yourself.
But I think structure is so important to humans, whether it's I wake up, I have a wash, I go to the shops, I buy a newspaper, I go and say hello to my mum. And I think at the moment, when so many of our familiarities have been taken away from us, when we've just been left to sit and rot, like this lockdown, been so much harder because the first one, we were all in it together. As hard it was, like my wife worked from upstairs from home, as hard as it was having Jasmine all the time, this had company. This time, being on my Todd all day, and you sit there. Look, I love being lazy. I love watching TV after I've worked, after I've trained, after that's my body's recovering. But this time, I'm just, feeling like I've just been left out on the shelf.
Yeah, I think like with that, it's like with anything, like you say, with structure, we need structure to some point. It's like with music, if you have a chorus, then half a verse, then a chorus, then a bridge, then half a chorus, then it's scattered, and your mind just can't keep up with it, can't make sense. Or a movie, you have an introduction, and then it slowly builds to suspense, and then it resolves. You know, we're having no resolve at the minute, and we're having no build up. It's sort of like extremes. You can, you can't, you can, you can't. And I think like without that structure, without that, suspense and then a resolve, we're constantly going to be looking for the storyline and the plot. And I think that's what we're struggling with, the inconsistency of the movie, we'll say.
The brilliance of a weekend is you've had a hard week, so you have 2 days to recover. Whereas at the moment, there's nothing to look forward to.
I think I'll just say now, if I can read it. Sky Stewart said, "Hope you're all well." So thank you for the comment, Sky.
Yeah, happy new Sky. If anyone else would like to write in, send a message to either say how they think the tears or how it's affected them, because we want you to be a part of the conversation. Or if you've got any suggestions for our verse for a thought for Thursday, next Thursday, please send them in at any time.
And could we like even just say now why people, if people are going to comment in, if Aaron don't mind, like actually letting us know what it is that you've got that's going to be released, that's going out the gate.
Yeah, sure. So I spoke with Kev briefly about this earlier, and I think it'll definitely help the Black Country Blokes as a podcast and for the work that we're doing as well to help support it. So myself and my wife, 15 months ago, we basically, there's quite a few reasons behind the formation of it, but one of my things is that as much as we help people with their mental health in podcasts like this or Find Your Voice, for example, I would love something that if somebody doesn't listen to this or doesn't, find this appealing, for example, they could take on a daily basis that's convenient and it's affordable. And because I think that appeals to the mass market. So what we've effectively done with her like pharmaceutical knowledge and stuff is we formulated 2 blends. So they're like one's a super green and one's a super red blend effectively. And within that, what we've done is we've kept it 100% natural, vegan accredited, non-GMO. There's no nasties or anything. It's 100% organic as well, and it's just 7 things that if you take them on a daily basis, it reduces your cortisol. It increases calmness. It alleviates some level of anxiety. It's not going to solve anxiety, but it can definitely help if you get it into your bloodstream and you have it for 30 days. And it's just something that I'm so confident, and obviously with her pharmaceutical background as well, is that if somebody took this for 30 days, you will see instant effects. So I was a guinea pig for about 3 or 4 months ago, and we were trying them, so we were sampling them, but we were also trying to make sure they don't taste like crap, because most green blends and stuff and anything good for you, generally speaking, tastes like you don't want to have it again. So we had to make it palatable, and we tried all that, and I took it for 44 days, and for 44 days I wasn't ill. And if anyone knows me, I've got an immune system like no other. Like my immune system is really bad. I'm always ill. So that's what we're literally launching like 12 o'clock, and it's been non-stop. I mean, even now she's just gone off on the phone now. We're just trying to get that done, but that's something that we hope and we're happy to do. I sat with the wife and we said the profits that we get from a sale, anyone who buys it from the Black Country, so we can like make a discount code like BCB, for example, we'll donate that profit straight back into Black Country Blokes, and then we can either use that if we need to improve something, if we need subscriptions for the podcast, because obviously that costs for the hosting, or we can make a decision at the end of the month or 6 months, guys, why don't we either donate this somewhere else to somebody more needy if we don't need it? Because as much as profit obviously keeps a business going, our main thing is if we can get this into as many houses as possible, at least it's giving them 1% better chance of being happier and healthier, if that makes sense. So it's called Health Excel. I should probably mention that. Health Excel is the main name for it. So it's Health XCEL. I'm shit at marketing, by the way. But yeah, that's it. So that's what I want to kind of bring up. I'll obviously send you guys some as well. Samples, try them. Just try and incorporate it every morning. You've got nothing to lose, basically. By taking it, it's only going to enhance your health. So hopefully we can offer that to anyone listening as well.
We need something to get us through this tier system. Maybe that's the key.
Well, I was laughing. I was
mixed with vodka.
That's something we'll have to try next Wednesday. But I was laughing because I was like, obviously with Pfizer and stuff and with the immunity, I was like, sometimes there's a lot of natural stuff out there as well. I'm not saying this is the cure for everything, but stuff like we've got ashwagandha in there, we've got moringa. These are all natural herbs sourced from all over the world, which is why it took us 15 months to do this. There's scientific studies showing that they reduce people's anxiety, they balance your hormones, stuff like people with depression and anxiety. That's why we're struggling all the time. So for me, it's a no-brainer for me. I mean, I have it obviously every day as a guinea pig, but if somebody was interested, then obviously it's there for them.
So is this sorry, Kev, is this a supplement? Is it a meal replace? Is it
No, so it's
to go along?
effectively like a supplement. So, rather than take multivitamins, which a lot of people take, you'll find they're synthetic, so they're not actually natural and they don't actually get into your bloodstream. So I used to take Wellman's tablets, which were really, really expensive, but the potency of them, i.e. the effects of them, were really low. So with this, you can put it into your water. Me and Kev are going to try it with vodka next week. You can put it into soups. You can put it into your cooking. Because it's palatable, it's really not got a flavour. It's quite like natural tasting. So we've used like a natural superfood food called lucuma, which is a fruit, which kind of takes away the horrible taste. But it's 100% natural and it's a fruit. So mix it in anything, warm water, hot water, soups, everything. And at the end of that day, you've taken something that's going to benefit you mentally and physically.
And I think that's a lot to do with the mental health and the physical health. It's about what we put into our diet, whether it's poison via fast food, alcohol, and all that, or if it's mental health diet, as in watching the news and seeing all the sorrows going around us. So we have to be careful what we're taking in to our bodies and to our souls.
Mm-hmm. You are what you consume. It took me a while to understand that when people used to say you are what you eat, and I used to think like, am I going to be an apple if I eat an apple, or am I going, and I think what they mean by that, if I've grasped it properly, is if you eat shit, you're going to feel shit, you're going to be shit. But we have actually got already, Aaron, is Julie Bob Dylan said, how do we order it? Pindy, forgive me if I say your name wrong, Pindico. Can I order some too? And Emma Watton, I think it is, my eyes and crap. Amazing, how can I order, please? Amanda Ripper, that sounds great. How do I also order some? So,
Okay.
we'll flash them up for you.
Yeah, thank you for that. So obviously the website hopefully goes live 12 o'clock tonight. The wife's working on it now. What we need to just create a discount code. So if we just agree, if it's all right with you guys, if everyone types in BCB at the checkout, for example, we'll knock off a discount, and then any of that profit that myself and my wife will make, again, we'll pack everything and stuff. We're going to donate directly to the show, and then we can obviously show that on a monthly basis that it's going to a better place. So however we want to choose, we can obviously have that conversation between ourselves. Or if anyone has any suggestions, if there's people out there who need it more than us, by all means, we're all very fortunate. We've all got stuff. Because again, the main thing with this is get it into more households to help improve more people. So the website is www.health, HEA, testing me now, LTH, the letter XCEL. So that's how it's spelled. And it's .co.uk.
Put that in the comments, Aaron, so people can
yeah, that's probably easier.
Yeah, because I don't know how to work this stream thing. I even missed the intro off. I bet Lee was shouting at me, man, because I didn't even put the intro on, but I'm new to this setting up. But already, I think it's important to note as well, like keeping with the theme, what we started speaking about, and also sort of like helping market your new product. I think if you can put good into your body, it may alleviate some of that stress and it may reduce some of it. By no means is it going to be a magic formula. You're going to take it and you're going to be transformed, because it's all in. It's all down to yourself, but you're giving your body and your mind one less thing to worry about and to combat by putting better things into your body, isn't you?
Absolutely. And I remember, Kev, I think we spoke about 12 months ago when I was starting this process, and I was saying like it'd be great to get on the podcast. It's something that I do on the Find Your Voice as well. But yeah, I'll put it in the links. I don't want to keep talking about it because I don't want it to be like a marketing thing, but I genuinely feel like, hand on my heart, I would never ever put anything out there in the universe. And you can do all the research that it will help whoever takes it. And in these times, I think any advantage we can get is beneficial for all of us.
Definitely.
And by the way, since Aaron's here and he's with the Black Country Blokes now on TikTok as well. Don't worry, yeah. I won't be doing any dad dancing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's under the Black Country Blokes is the name. So if you're on TikTok, check it out. It's mainly Kev dropping words of wisdom at the minute. But I think Craig, you were saying you were going to do some. Lee, if you're up for it, I might stay out of it and leave it to you guys. But again, it's a great platform.
I don't know.
Yeah, I hate the social media thing. I tried it last time when you said TikTok there was one to get on, and I tried a couple, and I thought, nah, I just hate it. I feel like a dick. I ain't gonna lie. No offense to TikTokers out there, but I feel like you got to have it about you. But I do need to start doing something, if not just to make a fool of myself.
Well, has anyone got anything else to say about the tiers tonight?
Mate, it baffles me. Lee looks like he's got something to say though.
Cheers, mate. No, I think all that's been said. I mean, I don't think anyone understands it. I think that's the main issue with it all. Are we actually out of lockdown in tier 3? Is there any difference?
Mate.
No, I don't think so. You can go and have your hair cut now if you want.
Yeah, I've actually booked one. That's why I'm wearing this hat at the minute. Look at state.
My missus have started cutting mine because I've always been fussy over the years. I'll stick to one barber for years and years and years. And then, like, since all this, for months, I never ever let anyone touch my hair because, granted, it grows back in 2 weeks. But, when you have your hair cut, that's when you feel fresh. If you don't feel
Absolutely.
fresh any other time of the month or the year, when you have your hair cut and the barber massages your head, not that Ramin does that for me. Ramin and Jay is big out, shout to them. But Jay started cutting it for months, and I've been in the thing. I thought, you know what? It's either look like Castaway or it's let the missus cut the hair, and as doing better.
But how important is that, Craig? Like for a guy as well. I don't know. I'm sure this is probably across the board. Just having a trim, or even having a shave, or shaping up, you instantly just feel better about yourself. Or like when, when you get changed in new clothes, for example.
Well, my brother,
you do.
Ben Taylor from RNL Judgment Barbers. He every year he used to, before all this nonsense, go to and cut homeless people's hair for free. He said the transformation it was unbelievable. Just a trim, a shave, bit of aftershave on. They're a different bloke. It gives them that urge to go and apply for that job.
And I think that's important because, like you say, if you've had long hair, even if it's not mega long, and then you go and have a cut and you have a chat and whatever else. I mean, when I started going to the barbers initially, it's been about 5-6 years ago now, this one, he did the thing where he burnt the hairs off your ears and everything. I walked out there like a pampered celebrity. I really did. But like you say, if you're in a shit mood and you have your hair cut and then it's styled, even if it's not like mega styled, like a Joey Essex style, you instantly feel better. And I suppose that's self-care. And I think we overlook that. We overlook the fact that if you take pride in your appearance, or even if you don't feel like it, if you get up, have a wash, make the effort, automatically you feel better than you would if you was in your snugs on the settee, watching shit films all day.
Absolutely. Self-care is exactly what you said, Craig. It's also sleeping enough at night. It's hydrating. It's having conversations with people you love, or important conversations. It's eating the right foods. It's actually a combination of everything. So the more of that you can kind of implement in your life, then I always find, at least for myself, the happier I generally feel in the day. So there's no like one pill that fixes everything, but definitely, I definitely agree with that. And I think that's going back to the point of what this episode, like Kev was saying and yourself earlier, we don't have much of that to really do, especially for yourself, Kev. You're just sitting at home and it's like, well, where do I get my dose of, I suppose, self-love? As a natural extrovert, you're not able to see people, you're not able to train people or help people. You're not able to go out to the barbers and get a trim, for example, or socialise. And that's, I think, where we're really struggling. Well, everyone really.
What's the chemical oxytocin? Where you get that's released by a smile. You see someone, when you're generous to people, you get that natural that boost of hormones. At the moment, it ain't like that, is it? I mean, I love doing this every Tuesday and Thursday, and just having that where we're just having a rattle. It's different, isn't it?
Absolutely. Are you referring to endorphins?
No, you got endorphins. You got endorphins, but then oxy something. When I saw
oxymoron.
No, I'm an oxymoron. But because you've got dopamine, endorphins, there's oxy. If someone knows it, put it in. But that's like the goodwill thing.
I think
I
I
think
want to
you're
go on
right.
something in a
I
minute.
think you're right.
Sky Stewart has put it's vital everyone needs to take time for their self-care, and I think it is, and just so as people take something tangible away from like tonight's episode, if each one of us could just say one thing that they'd advise or they'd suggest someone can do or someone can think or whatever else to like reassure themselves about self-care and to practice it every day. And even if people put something in the comments, what's one thing you do, Kev, or advise?
For myself or for
what
someone else.
what do you think's important? Say, like, I'd say as part of self-care, I'd try more on focusing, on what's good in my life and what's good about life, as opposed to what's eating me up inside. Because your thoughts are a big part of like self-care, and blocking the wrong ones out and inviting the right ones in is a big part of self-care. So what would you do?
Stay in touch with people, because when you're left on your own thoughts, that's when you think about it. I always think when you live in your own head, you don't think about, oh, bloody hell, do you remember when we were all having a laugh? Do you remember when so-and-so won the ABA? Remember my wedding day, one of the best days of my life? When we live in our own head, do you remember when he Judas me? Or do you remember when she broke my heart? Or do you remember when I... So when we're in that dark place, we often look towards the dark side instead of the positive sides. So someone told me once, listen to your favourite music when you feel down, because that'll take you instantly back there. Or surround your house by positive photos, because at that moment you look at it, you're back in that place. And if you can, this is easier when you're in a good frame of mind than a bad frame of mind. Send yourself a voice note or write it down. 3 positive things that have happened within that day.
Aaron?
I think how we talk to ourselves. So the way I always say it is try and talk to yourself the way you would talk to your mom or your child. For example, we're a lot more loving and kinder to our loved ones than we are to ourselves. For example, if your child does something bad, you're less likely to, demonize them or say something nasty. Whereas if it's yourself, we're quite overly critical of ourselves. Especially myself, I'm probably like, simple examples when I'm on a football pitch. I mean, the way I speak to myself, sometimes you think, I hate myself kind of thing, and that I take that energy with me back, and it's not a healthy place. If anything, we should be probably more kinder to ourselves than we are to other people, because I think that would translate as well and help us.
I think that's important as well. Before I come to you, Lee, bloody hell, I'm feeling like the host there. Signs
You're doing a good job, to be honest. You're doing well.
on a bit of a power trip since I've messed the intro up. Yeah, I read I think I read it or I heard someone say that, even when people are like laughing at you, even in like a banter or tongue in cheek kind of way, like, oh, you're ugly, or oh, you're this and the other, it's important to either stop them dead in the tracks or not engage in that. Because I read that your subconscious, your mind, and your body they can't differ between jokes and reality. So you're absorbing those words and that energy from people, even if it's in tongue and cheek, and it's resonating with you and your subconscious, even when you don't believe it is. So it's important to, if you're going to laugh at your own expense, just understand that it's going to lie with you if you're not fully happy with the situation.
They say that your conscious mind is the filter where you go, no, I know what's right and what is wrong, but your subconscious is just a sponge that takes in every bit of knowledge, smell, sound, feeling, and it just absorbs everything. Whereas your conscious can go, no, I don't believe that. So you're right, be careful what you're listening to.
Lee, you've had enough time to think about it now, mate.
Thank you. Well, I think it kind of ties everything in, but self-loathing, I think we can spend way too much time self-loathing and procrastinating about what we've got to do instead of getting it done. And I think sometimes to help yourself out more is go out, get out of bed, get those things done, and tick them off that list instead of having them there bothering you.
And that's important, because how many times do you think, oh, I've still got to do this. I've still got to do this. I was on about this to someone the other day, and you'd be like, instead of just saying, I've done it, you've got to, I've got to do it, but I can't be arsed. So I've got to file some like official documents for our label. But I know I've got a window with HMRC till June next year. And it was June, I could have filed them. So I've still not done it. And there's one thing holding me up, and it's something so stupid as I've got no printer ink. But every day, pretty much, I'll think about that formality I've still got to do instead of just ordering the ink, getting all the stuff printed off I need to, and dealing with the formality. You know, and procrastination, it's a curse. I mean, you say tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. And my dad always used to say to me, tomorrow never comes. I would say, yeah, it does. And he'd say, name me one day of the week that is called tomorrow. And I think if you look at it like that, just get your shit done, and you've not got to think about it and think about it. You know, you'll probably find yourself, and you know, with a clearer thought. You know, you're not backlogged with old shitty files in your memory system.
You should have saved that for the quote.
I ain't doing a quote, Kev. I've hosted, mate.
It's hard work, isn't it, Craig, doing all that? Huh?
No, all you got to do is just miss the intro off. It just lightens the load.
Well, guys,
I'll probably put that on the outro.
Well, on Tuesday, same time, we're going to be joined by Paul Boggy. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Paul Boggy's got such an interesting story. He's just brought out a book, ex-heroin user, ex-squaddy, and I'll be telling us about how he's gone from A to Z. So that'll be Tuesday at 7:30. So a quote, quick quote. Has anyone got one, or?
I've just thought of one on the spot.
Go on.
First, Sky Stewart said first, thank you for all the comments tonight as well, by the way. It's been nice to having people, you know, communicate with us and you know, interact. She said, no day called tomorrow. You know, and it's very true. And that's what my dad's always taught me growing up. And the quote I've just thought of, if I can remember it now, is, if you have nothing nice to say, then don't say it to yourself.
So until we see each other next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Ta-ra a bit.
Yeah, ta-ra a bit when I find the outro.
Listen.
And that's a wrap for another show. But if there are any comments or messages that you would like us to read out for our next podcast, please be in touch. There are also lots of different organisations at the bottom of this page, and hopefully they can help you or someone you care about. Please share this to spread the word. Until we talk next time, ta-ra a bit.
Listen.